Was there a point in your life where you became fully comfortable with who you were and you were like, do you know what? I get it. Like, I understand life. I'm happy with who I am. Was there an age?
I think it's a process. I think it's a process of maturity and understanding that you're always growing and that you're always learning and that you have to treat yourself with grace and compassion. Because if you're not a lover of yourself, if you're not a fan of yourself, who else is going to be a fan of you? If I can't look at myself in the mirror and be like, you know what, Luke, you have shortcomings, but you also have great things. I treat myself like I would treat somebody else, right? Because I'm in a relationship with me. It's not like, oh, I'm just myself. I'm in a relationship with me. So I go through hardships, I go through difficulties, but when I interact with myself, I try to cheer myself up. Like, hey, dude, you're doing well. Like, you're crushing. Even if I'm not crushing, right? Like this week I had like a big tax bill come, right? Big fucking tax bill.
No, you can't escape that.
Bro, I can't. Big fucking tax bill. But this is a tax bill from a couple of years ago, right? So
this is you Canadian American?
American. I have my American citizenship. I'm originally from Argentina, but I have my American citizenship. But the situation that arose was like, I think taxes that are due or whatever, it was like almost $1 million. And I'm like, fuck.
In taxes,
yeah. So it was, I get the call from my accountant.
Cool.
Like, you wouldn't have to experience that because you're here, bro. You're here in Dubai. Like, good job.
Well, it's good for now. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
I moved to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is now 4% income tax. So it's the only tax haven for Americans or people that have US citizenships.
But can you escape it fully?
If I give up my citizenship.
Okay,
yeah. But that's also like a situation whereby I need to have multiple passports, which is, I have a couple, but I'm working on them. But I was like, my CPA calls me and I'm like, okay, he gives me the good news. And it's like almost $1 million in taxes for whatever the year was. And I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there and I could have done things better. I could have appropriated money in different ways. But instead of beating myself over the head and being like, you idiot, like you fucked up, or you could have done this better, I look at myself and I'm like, all right, it's part of the game. If it wasn't fun, if it wasn't interesting, then life wouldn't be worth it. So I treat myself with grace and compassion. And I think if people can sense that in them, that you know what you're learning, you're developing, you're growing, that if you mess up, if you fuck up, if you fall, that it's okay. It's the same thing, I guess you would say with experience in the gym. When you mess up on the last set, or like when the weights, you don't hit your full set, right? And you finish at 8 instead of 12. You don't look at yourself, oh, you idiot, you didn't finish. You're like, okay, perfect. It's part of the process. And I treat life the same exact way. I look at my shortcomings and my difficulties and I'm like, I'm comfortable with that. Like, I'm okay with that. My process is very simple. I plan, I execute, and then I iterate. So I plan my process, I execute my process, and then I iterate. In the iteration is where I become better. And unless you have that mental framework of, I'm getting better and better and better and better. Like, you were training 14 years, bro. Like, when you looked at yourself 14 years ago, maybe you could have imagined who you became today. But in the process of becoming who you are today, you don't look back at who you were 14 years ago and you're like, this was a nobody. This was nothing. It's that journey. And I look at my personal development, who I am as a person, the same way. Maybe 20 years from now, I'll look at myself today and be like, oh, I was a kid. I was a chump.
Yeah,
the same thing, right?
I think I would look at myself and think
exactly.
the same thing
So
when I'm like 40.
Yeah. So it's that process. And I'm like, but it's okay. It's the part of the journey. It's the process. And I enjoy it.
Wow. Yeah. You seem very self-aware. Have you always been self-aware?
I think it's self-realization. I like to realize, instead of being self-aware, being like, oh, I'm aware of my surroundings, I like to, Andrew says it. Andrew has a famous word. He calls it perspicacity, right? The ability to perceive that which cannot be seen. So I like to be in a state of self-realizing things. So I'm constantly aware of my habits. I'm constantly aware of my mental thoughts. I'm constantly aware of people that I hang out with. And in that, you kind of develop an awareness for the world. It's not an intuitive awareness. It's a proactive awareness that is actually you realizing that things are kind of taking place. I'm not going to steal Andrew's word, but it's a good word.
So going back to when you were growing up, I want to figure out this journey, this process of how you've got to where you are today. You say you grew up in
Argentina.
What was that like?
Poor.
Yeah, I've been there before. I was there on a rugby tour when I was 16, and I saw that there are some affluent areas, but the majority of it is not.
Yeah, so grew up in a rural town. I think like 15,000 people. Parents, normal, regular people. Never had a ton, but never like was lacking things. But You know, the framework in South America is very much like family driven. It's kind of like the Middle East. So it's all about family. It's all about, your circle. In the West, like North America, it's very much like, oh, fuck your family, kind of do whatever you want. I don't know how it is in the UK, but in South America, it's very much like family and loyalty. But at the age of 16, I looked at what my parents were doing, working regular jobs. And I was like, I don't want to do this. My brother was working in a gas station. I was working in a hotel, like mopping floors. That was my job. Like, that's what I was doing. I was like, I cannot do this. And through a family member, I actually got a flight for free, sitting where the flight attendants sit. And that was my flight to America, right? So I didn't get a coach. I didn't sit like whatever it is where people sit. I sat where the flight attendants sit. And I was like, at the age of 16 with $200 in a suitcase that my parents gave me, I went to America and started working, pressure washing basketball courts, got gigs cleaning toilets, worked at a Buffalo Wild Wings, flipping the wings in the back. And eventually, I think it was part of the self-realization. I always knew that there was more. So I was always studying. I was always about self-education. I was always reading. And at the age of, I think 19 or 20, maybe a little more, 21, I was doing side gigs. I eventually got introduced with e-commerce and crypto through a series of friends and events, and it kind of panned out.
Yeah, I've done a bit of research. You made quite a bit of money off crypto.
Yes, a lot.
And some other investments as well.
Yes.
So you're good. Would you say that was more luck or like a well executed and planned action?
I think it's a combination of both. This idea of luck can only be perceived as a person that may not have the right information, right? So yeah, I maybe got introduced to the word Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $600. That was lucky, but actualizing and taking action on what I did with that information wasn't luck. So I started studying, researching, buying books on the stock market, buying books on finance, understanding what was this ecosystem, investing money into it. I remember, dude. So in the United States, when you're buying at a restaurant, you get a waiter, you get cash tips, right? So if somebody buys a meal, they have like 10, 15, 20% tip for the waiter. Usually that tip isn't cash, right? That's how it works. Yeah. You get to take that home every single day. You don't have to wait for like a paycheck at the end of the month. That's the cool thing about waiting tables. I never worked a job where I got paid a salary. I was always like, I got to hunt, kill, and whatever I make that day, that's what I have. So I would take that cash, I would go to the ATM, and you get basically your direct cash deposit. So it shows up in your bank account that same day. And I would go to an exchange called Bitstamp, which is an OG exchange. And I would go that same day and buy crypto, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would do.
What year was this?
2015.
Wow.
Yeah. Long time ago.
So you were living a very humble lifestyle, and you weren't.
I was sleeping on my brother's couch, paying him $200 a month to sleep on his couch.
Damn.
Yeah, brother.
That's smart.
So I always ask myself, how can you build a product? How can you build a community that is sustainable, that gives back to the people, that empowers people to win, and that ultimately pushes you and propels you towards the future? Because you don't want to be living in the past. You don't want to be living in a 9-to-5. You don't want to be living in a cubicle being told what to do by some ugly boss. You want what? Time freedom, location freedom. And that means you got to use things like a fucking laptop to succeed. It's very simple. You make money on the internet. Now, in 2016, when I got started making money online, in 2017, when I started ecom, it was a little bit taboo. I recognized it. But in 2025, you have no excuse. 2025, people are making millions of dollars online. Mom and pop shops on Etsy are making tens of thousands of dollars selling things that they like. You can do it too. But I understand it's daunting. I understand it's challenging. I understand the mental blocks because I've been there. I was that guy. I was you. But with the right resources, the right information, the right ecosystem, you can also get what you want. Time and location freedom and making money online. You see other people doing it. It's not a lie. All you have to do is hop on Twitter, type ecom, very simple, and you'll see all the screenshots of people making money. It's real. The question is, are you going to apply yourself? Are you going to find the right community, the right resources? And are you going to take advantage of the fact that people are making money because people are spending their time on their phones? When was the last time you bought clothing in person? You're buying things on the internet. So why be a consumer when you can be a producer? It's very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. What we did is put together all of the necessary tools, resources, community, experts, live streams, AI tools, store building methods, all into one hub, Ecom Society, so that you can get access to this digital revolution, the e-commerce revolution. It's real, it's here. The question is, are you going to be the one buying, or are you going to be the one collecting the coin? The choice is yours. I'll see you guys inside. Ecom Society is finally here. Epic e-commerce community, and it will be, as it is, designed to be the largest e-commerce community on the planet. See you inside. Nothing to lose, everything to gain, because we have a refund policy. It's literally zero risk, all reward. See you inside.